Hello everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to explore the concept of a function. So I'm going to zoom into this part first. A function can be thought of like a machine where it takes in an input. The input goes in. The machine applies a certain rule. Okay? And it comes out an output after applying that rule. Okay, so input, rule, output. Using an example to illustrate this machine or this function, if x can be any number, so the input is x. And we are going to add this rule. The rule is we are always going to add 3 to the input. So x must plus 3. Okay, that is the rule. And the output is y. So how does it look like? So for example, if my input x is 5, then every time it goes through this function machine, we have to always add in the 3. So if x is 5, 5 plus 3, it will return y as 8. So example again, if x is 10, then if we put this number 10 into this machine, we have to add 3 because that is the rule of this machine. Then it will return 13. So we continue for 15 plus 3, 18, 20 plus 3, 23. If it is 25, and when I add 3, it will return 28. So that's like how functions work. So meaning there's an input and there's an output, and it can be represented actually in a few ways, which is what I'm going to share with everyone in the next part of this video. So a variable y is a function of another variable x if each value of x can give us exactly one value of y. Alright? And it can be represented in any of these following: either a statement, a table, a graph, or an equation. So example, previously we always add 3, the input x, we add 3 to the rule is 3, and the output becomes y. So if I were to write it as a statement, we can just say that y is 3 more than x. Going back to the previous example, because we always add 3 to x, and it gives us y. If I represent it in a table, it will look like this, where the input x, if it is 5, it will give us back 8 because we add 3 to it. The rule is we are going to add 3 every time to the x. Yeah? And that is what you see in this particular table. So we can actually represent a function like a table. Well, if we are given a Cartesian coordinate plane, we could then actually plot these points out. So, how do I read this point then? I'm going to demonstrate for each order pair, 5 and 8 in this case, x is 5, and I go all the way up to this point because at this point my y is 8, so this is the ordered pair for 5, 8, which correspond to the point on top the table, 5, 8. So if I move on to the next point, which I'm going to use probably a purple color to illustrate this point simply means when x is 10, I stop here, y is 13. So this is the ordered pair 10, 13, which correspond to the table at the top. And after we have drawn the graph, how do we draw the graph? We simply connect the points using a ruler. And this point here, this graph, which happens to be a straight line graph. And another word for straight line is linear. It's another representation of a function. And by now, I hope you all can see that we can also represent it using an equation. To get the value of y, we always plus 3 to the x. So it literally means y equals to x plus 3. And therefore, we have come to the end of this particular video. So if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up as we explore more examples with Mr. Tan.